the moment of truth. We're going to get started. First, I just want to say thank you to all of you for being here today. This energy is amazing, and this is what's going to bring us victory in November. I do want to recognize we have some elected officials in the audience. We have Delegate David Toscano. We have a couple of candidates. I see Lloyd Snook is running for City Council. I know we have Jim Hingley here, who is running for Commonwealth Attorney. If there's anyone else, please raise your hand.
Cena McGill.
Cena McGill is also here, City Council candidate. All right. So my name is Amy Laufer, and I'm running for Virginia State Senate. Before I go on, I also have to say thank you to the Charlottesville Dems for organizing this canvass. Thank you, guys. Okay, and now I want to say a special thank you to our honored guest, Congressman and presidential candidate Beto O'Rourke. Coming to Charlottesville and helping us flip the state Senate blue and win the Commonwealth's Attorney Office in Albemarle County with Jim Hingley. Beto O'Rourke won his first election for Congress by doing exactly what we are doing today. Knocking on doors, talking to voters one-on-one. This is how he won an incumbent race. He knocked thousands of doors and he won his election. And I just want to share with you a couple of things that are on the ballot in Virginia this year. Hold that, sorry. We need to be protecting affordable health care for all. We need investments in early childhood education, education in general, and also pay raises for teachers. We need gun violence prevention measures. Third-party redistricting. And we need to finally pass the Equal Rights Amendment. And I'm telling you, my opponent will fight to end these initiatives. And if we cannot change his mind, we need to vote him out. Like Congressman O'Rourke, we want our communities to be strong, successful, and welcoming for everyone. While in Congress, he voted to expand access to health care for veterans, and he held countless town halls in order to listen to the concerns of his constituents. As a presidential candidate, he has made access to quality, affordable health care a major part of his platform. And like us, he is advocating for early childhood education and teacher pay raises, what we need in Virginia. Congressman O'Rourke has been a strong voice of gun violence prevention measures such as universal background checks, red flag laws, and high-capacity magazine bans. I just want to say thank you so much for being here and drawing attention to this important race. With energy like this, we can win. So let's welcome Congressman and presidential candidate Beto O'Rourke.
Buenos días. ¿Cómo estamos? Good to see you all. Thank you for supporting Amy and being here and getting after it and knocking on doors. And our thanks to Champion Brewing, who just presented me with a Champion Brewing pint glass. The only qualm I have with that is it was completely empty when they gave it to me, but it may be a little too early, even though it is a Saturday. No judgment if you want to partake. That may, one beer may be one of the best ways to go out and start knocking on doors. Loosen you up, make sure that you're ready to have that conversation. Introduce yourself, let folks know why you showed up, why you took some time away from your kids' soccer game, or resting on your one day from work, or having one of these conversations that in this modern age, in a country that is so divided and so polarized and so consumed by our personal digital devices, to have this unstructured, unguarded, raw and real conversation with another human being, eyeball to eyeball. You never met them before. And you're going to talk about one of the two subjects that you should never bring up in polite company. Politics, the other being religion. You're doing that not for the candidate alone, although Amy is extraordinary. Not for the Democratic Party, but for this country and for our future and for your kids and for your grandkids and for every generation that follows, because every issue that we could possibly care about right now is on the line, will be decided, and will be defined by the people who have gathered here under this tent, who are going to bring in thousands, tens of thousands more into this campaign, into this election, and into our democracy. Because the road to 2020, an incredibly important year, runs through 2019. The road to a better America runs through the Commonwealth of Virginia. The road to a majority in the Senate here is the road that we're on right now, that will take us from this tent with the packets that we're going to pick up at the end of this talk and go out and knock on doors. And I want to tell you that it works. As Amy mentioned, we ran against an incumbent when I first ran for the United States Congress in 2012. Against the odds, against 5 times the spending that was spent against us, we knocked on doors every single day. Remember talking to folks who had never voted in an election before and decided that they were going to get registered to vote. Folks who had not voted in an election in 20 years. Folks who had never voted for a Democrat before. But the common courtesy of showing up, the simple respect of asking for that vote or involving them in the conversation made all the difference in the world. And I knew that we had a chance to win. We were about a month out from the election. And I was walking into a little diner. And this guy comes up to me and he says, "Are you Beto O'Rourke?" I said, "I am." And he said, "Well, last week you knocked on my grandmother's door. She invited you in. She told you about her grandson who's in the Marines that she's so proud of, her daughter who is a school teacher, and her struggles to answer that call, though she has to work a second job just to make ends meet. And you sat down and you listened to her, and then when you left, you went out and knocked on the other doors on her block. Well, that Sunday, I and 20 of my other cousins came to her house for menudo, as we do every Sunday. And she made each and every single one of us promise to vote for you." So he says, "Look, dude, I don't know who you are, but do not mess this up, because you are going to win, because beyond the 20 cousins that I have who are there, we are a very big family in the lower valley of El Paso, Texas. Those connections, one person at a time, is how we make this democracy work. It's as old as democracy itself. All the modern stuff, the TV ads, the pundits, the Twitter, the Facebook, the social media, it's all wonderful and probably necessary. Nothing beats the human-to-human connection that we're about to embark upon right now. And speaking of a human-to-human connection, though I have just met Amy, I can understand that this is incredibly personal for her, and for Henry, and for Adam, and for Hannah, and for Aaron. This is about her family and making sure that her kids have a better world to look forward to. This is about ensuring that the air that they breathe, the water that they drink, they can count on, that this challenge of climate change is confronted before it is too late. 10 years left to us, not as Democrats or Republicans or Virginians or Americans, but as human beings to get this right before these changes consume us and undermine our ability to live in the cities that we call home today, maybe on planet Earth altogether. She wants to make sure that she's there for the challenge. Gun violence that takes the lives of 40,000 of our fellow Americans every single year, a level of death and destruction that we see nowhere else in the developed world, certainly not in a country as wealthy and powerful and as ingenious as ours. She understands red flag laws and universal background checks and ending the sale of these high-capacity magazines, and then making sure that when a special session is called, that we stay there and do our job and listen to one another and get something done for those who are counting on it. She knows that any public school educator, those who are driving the bus or working in the library, or providing counseling services, or serving the food, or providing instruction in the classroom, they should not have to work a second or a third job just to make ends meet. They should be able to focus on that one job, that child in front of them, unlocking their lifelong love of learning so that they can achieve anything that they set their minds and their hearts to. And they should be able to focus on what they want to provide and not these high stakes, high pressure, standardized tests. When I was in high school, we read the Odyssey cover to cover. And the only reason we named our firstborn Ulysses is because we didn't have the guts to name him Odysseus. That book changed my life. And now listening to high school seniors who are reading the abridged version of the book because they have to set so many days aside for these high stakes, standardized, high pressure test prep sessions that they cannot read the entire text. Kids who are anxious, teachers who are anxious, knowing that test will never fully measure that child's potential or that teacher's performance. That teacher who maybe, even though she's not being paid a living wage, is funding not just the classroom decorations and the school supplies, but that meal for the child who's on free and reduced breakfast and lunch but does not have a dinner to go home to. Or the kid who's shown up in the same set of jeans and t-shirt Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. By Friday, she's bought him a new set of clothes, understanding that his ability to learn is tied to his dignity and sense of self-worth. She wants to make sure that all of us have that teacher's back, that we have a world-class system of public education, and in this divided country, that public school classroom remains perhaps the most important place where we come together without regard of our differences of race, religion, how many generations you can count yourself an American, or whether your family just got to this country on Friday. All that matters now is that we are Americans first, human beings, and we're going to treat one another accordingly. So whether it is in education, whether it is the environment, whether it is our gun laws, whether it's making sure that we have universal, guaranteed, high-quality health care, primary health care, mental health care, and health care that means every woman makes her own decisions about her own body and has access to the care to make that possible. Whether it is confronting climate before it is too late, all of this is right now on all of us. And the best way to get after it is for us to grab one of these packets and begin talking to our fellow Americans, inviting them in and say, no me importa, I could care less whether you're a Republican or a Democrat, who you love, to whom you pray, whether you pray at all. I just want to bring you in so that we can come together right now at this defining moment of truth. Thank you all for getting behind Amy. Looking forward to walking with you. Cynthia says, for anyone who would love to say hello, shake hands, we would love to meet you over here on one condition, that after you do, you grab a packet and we get out there and walk. Deal? Yeah. Thank you all very much. Ms. Agnes.